95% tax rate visited on the producers of our society obviously has those in power concerned. The Obamatrons know that with this rate of taxation, social order will disappear, and history proves masters prefer their slaves unarmed. Glenn Beck, who supported the huge growth in government under Dubba, is now claiming he has seen the chaos coming for years and openly discusses the breakdown of societal order and possible armed revolution in the mainstream media. Many in this nation have been preparing for such an event. Firearms and ammunition sales are at an all-time high, with many weapons that fall into the government's definition of assault weapon disappearing in availability and rising rapidly in price where and when available. A friend in North Carolina phoned this weekend to tell me he had waited in line for an hour to get into a local gun show. Another friend in Tennessee had a similar story. Most ammo and reloading supplies are in short supply nationwide. My personal choice for assault weapons, the M1A, has disappeared from internet firearms auction sites and most gun shop racks. The AR-15 platform has seen huge sales and similar lack of availability. Many wonder out loud what those in the military will do when, not if, the government moves to confiscate those nasty black guns from American citizens. If they have taken the time to reflect on their oath of enlistment in which they swore to uphold and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, the answer should be obvious. Any enemy of the Constitution should immediately become the enemy of those sworn to defend it. Nowhere in this oath is there a commitment to support the government. Many also wonder if there will be a defining event that will precipitate the call for total confiscation. A false flag operation or another mass public shooting of civilians, perhaps even children, by a mentally unstable individual heavily into prescription drugs. For years I have been of the opinion there is no political answer to the coming unrest in this country and the subsequent move to seize firearms from the populace. I have written often of my total lack of faith in the National Rifle Association and their belief in compromise with the enemy as a means of retaining our God-given natural rights. I have never understood why we beg from man, the state, for that which is already ours. When the NRA's beliefs in compromise led them to promoting the growth of the state apparatus used to deny our Second Amendment rights, my beliefs were confirmed. While I once also supported gun owners of America and still believe them to be honest and sincere in their support for the Second Amendment, I find their approach to be based on convincing politicians to do what is morally and constitutionally right. We should all realize that ain't going to happen. Loving liberty will not be sufficient in the coming hard times. Gun owners, constitutionalists, and believers in freedom are going to be faced with some life-changing decisions. Again, to quote my grandfather, we are going to be forced to put some wheels on our prayers.
Well, I think we're fixing to see some of the most attacks on the Second Amendment. The Barack Obama regime, well, his whole history is nothing but a gun grabber, and again, we're going to have Larry Pratt on. And I think the only way, people always ask me, because I criticize the government so much, what is the solution to the government other than use our constitutional right to start a whole another one? One term. The corruption comes from career politicians. If everyone was one term, that's the only thing I can come up with that would solve these problems. When you've got an Arlen Specter that's been there ever since he come up with the ridiculous magic bullet, and he's still there now, these kind of lifetime career politicians. Yeah. And something else before we play our clip of Alan Keyes. This week, the U.S. Army, it was reported on the Federal Business Opportunity website, the U.S. Army is to invest $6 million in riot equipment, a fact that has furthered fears that troops will be used inside the U.S. in order to quell any civil unrest resulting from the ongoing economic crisis. The request, titled 84 Riot Equipment, outlines the need for hard polyurethane shin and chest guards, shock absorber forearms, interior leg braces, and a whole litany of equipment to be supplied to the Army for the possibility of civil unrest here in America. I mean, it just continues.
That's for the U.S. Army folks. The police throughout the United States are already prepared for that.
Already have it. And last week we reported that the Army was planning on training the National Guard actually in Arcadia, Iowa. There was so much outcry from the populace that they did decide not to do that. So I guess that's a little victory for the people. They did decide not to do that. So I wanted to get that in today. We've got a clip of Alan Keyes. This gentleman has run for president, I think 3 times. A very outspoken critic. This is someone that I believe I could support. But some of what he has to say here is very interesting. So we wanted to play this clip of Alan Keyes now.
Obama is a radical communist. I think it's becoming clear. That's what I told people in Illinois, and now everybody realizes it's true. He's going to destroy this country, and we're either going to stop him, or the United States of America is going to cease to exist.
Is there any, do you still hold regrets against not having long enough time to debate against President Obama?
I don't have any regrets. I went into Illinois. People told me at the time I didn't stand much of a chance of winning. The idea was to bear a true witness. The man is an abomination. He is someone who has actually advocated infanticide, that when babies are the target of abortion, if they happen to escape the abortionist's intention and are born alive, he actually supported the idea that those babies should be set aside to die. That is a man with such a seared conscience, I can't even understand why anybody in their right mind would consider him worthy of political support. That's a violation of conscience that is inconceivable. And even some of the most hardline pro-abortion people in America rejected that abomination, and he did not.
So what does tonight mean when President Obama is president of the United States?
Is he? That's another question. Is he president of the United States? According to the Constitution, in order to be eligible for president, you have to be a natural-born citizen. He has refused to provide proof that he is, in fact, a natural-born citizen. And his Kenyan relations say that he was born in Nairobi at a time when his mother was too young to transmit U.S. citizenship. So I'm not even sure he's president of the United States. No, that's not a laughing matter. Neither are many of our military people now who are going to court to ask the question, do we have to obey a man who is not qualified under the Constitution? We're in the midst of the greatest crisis this nation has ever seen. And if we don't stop laughing about it and deal with it, we're going to find ourselves in the midst of chaos, confusion, and civil war. It's time we started acting like grown-ups.
How could the policy that President Obama makes in the next couple of years affect activities like tonight?
Sorry, the person you call President Obama, and I frankly refuse to call him that.
Right.
At the moment, he is somebody who is kind of an alleged usurper, who is alleged to be someone who is occupying that office without constitutional warrant to do so. And he's rushing forward with ideas like destroying our borders, an amnesty bill that will actually have the American taxpayer footing the bill for illegals to come to this country to live, to get housing, and to get everything they want. He is also somebody who has just announced a program that would essentially destroy the validity of existing mortgages and encourage everybody in the country to stop paying their mortgage because the government is going to pay it instead. This is insanity. It's as if we have put insane children and adolescents in charge of our government. And I think we need to ask simple questions. A couple of years ago, we were arguing over every penny in the United States budget, and it was quite clear we didn't have enough money to go around. Well, somebody asked me where we came up with $2 trillion in the course of the last 6 months. Did we wish for it out of the air? Have people gone mad in this country? You don't have that money. We are claiming that a bankrupt government can save a bankrupt banking system. Explain to me how that happens, because I think that's impossible. And the fact that we have just elected an individual who may or may not be qualified, and he presents silly ideas like this and says, let's move forward now. And we're all acting like the laws of economics have been repealed, and we can actually afford to foot the bill with money nobody's got. This is insane. It's got to lead to the collapse of our economy, and it's going to.
All right, that was Alan Keyes, and that, since we criticize Barack Obama, a lot of people like to paint that as it's racist. That is a black man right there, and I agree with what he has to say about the President of the United States, and that's someone that I could support.